All right, everybody. Welcome back to Stories from a Mountain Town. Today with me, a pretty big guest today, Meg the Egg on Instagram. I don't actually know your last name, Meg. What's
It's
your last name?
Murtagh. It's Meagan Murtagh.
Megan Murtagh.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Um, Meg is, well, I guess I'll just let you talk about yourself. What do you do around here in Jackson?
I'm kind of interested to see how you would describe me because we're just meeting for the first time. You
Yeah.
reached out to me on Instagram. Yeah, I guess what's your perception?
I would certainly call you a Jackson social media influencer
Okay.
slash real estate broker.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know where you level those things because everybody here, you've heard me say this. Everybody in Jackson has a side gig.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what you do or how much money you make in your main gig, you have a side gig. So yeah, which one is your side gig?
I think a lot of people have this idea because of my Instagram that's like my main thing, but that
Yeah.
is like so my side thing.
Yeah.
So it's kind of I don't post a lot of content on there about, and I'm starting to do more about real estate and like what I do for like actual work and like how I make money, but that it's really just like a fun hobby.
Yeah. For the people, when you see a big number of followers like you have, like I think I looked today, it was like 21,000. So that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
That's sick. People see that and think like, oh, you're making millions of dollars or whatever. You can just do whatever you want and take pictures of hats and the outfit you wore today.
People have asked me, they're like, do you just have a photographer follow you around? And I'm like, no, far from it.
Yeah, you might get like, even with the following I have, I've gotten like a handful of just items for free, but that's probably more what you get, and or just like here, we'll give you like a little bit of money and a hat, and can you post about us or like put us on your website or something? It's probably a lot more of that, right?
Yeah, it's definitely when I first started out, I started a blog just kind of for fun because when I moved to Jackson, I moved here in 2008, and I was doing real estate, and I'm from Ohio originally, and I would go back home, and people, my family and friends back home would be like, where do you live? Like Montana, like Wisconsin, like no one knew where Wyoming was. And they're like, so what do you do there? And I was just like, whoa. So I started, just like taking pictures. I started reading other blogs, and I was like, oh, this is kind of like a diary online. And I would just, kind of like go on adventures and take pictures and write about it. And it just kind of like, that was before like the blogging world was like a business world. And so that's kind of how it started. And now it's very much, it's definitely like a side gig kind of hobby, which, I do make money from, but that is like, when I get up in the morning, that's not like my focus. It's a fun thing that I happen to make money from, and it, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's exactly what my marketing company thing is right now. Cause like I do, one of our main client here is the Links at Teton Peaks, the golf course over in Driggs. And like they allow dogs. So I get to go over there, take pictures and videos and fly my drone with my dogs around and golf.
Yeah,
so it's just like, we make a little bit of money, but it's not anything crazy, but it's just like so much fun just doing it. I would probably do it for free. Brent, I shouldn't have said that. Brent, don't listen to this episode. But yeah, that's awesome. And I get that same thing where people are like, where do you live? Colorado? Cause I see you in the mountains. Like I'll talk to people at work that I haven't seen, and they're like, how's Montana? How's Colorado?
Yeah.
It's like, no, this is different.
Yeah, I went home for my grandma passed away a couple years ago, and we're at the funeral, and it's like extended family, and like I think out of like 100 people whose hand I shook, like one person knew that I was in Wyoming. It was like every other state around Wyoming. But I do think it's interesting that I moved here in 2008, and like until like really like 5 years ago, people still didn't know outside of here. And outside of the Rocky Mountains, like when I would go home or if I was traveling, people were like, where's Jackson Hole? Like, oh, that's Florida. And I was like, no, that's Jacksonville.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, everyone's like, I know someone who lives in Jackson Hole. It's like really it's become like a place, which I think is great.
Yeah. And it's still mainstream. Like it's extremely popular right now. But it's like kind of like on the wings of mainstream, where if someone's thinking about going on a ski trip or something, they're going to like Vail or Breckenridge, or they're going to like Park City or Tahoe, and then it's only like the people that know about Jackson previously or are really gnarly skiers that think about this as their vacation spot.
Yeah, and even in the summer, I mean, it's still hard to get here. You
Yeah.
know, it's like a far drive. We don't have any big cities around us. I think that we'll kind of always have that.
Yeah, just because it's so isolated.
I don't think it's going to be like a Vail. I hope not, but
yeah.
No offense, Vail.
Those videos, did you see those videos from like Barstool of their lines?
Yeah.
And our lines were bad that day too, and we had nothing compared to that.
So I lived in Colorado before I moved to Wyoming, and like when people complain about the lines here, I'm just like, you have like absolutely no idea, like how we are so lucky. Even when it's a powder day and you have to wait in line, it's nothing compared to Colorado.
Yeah, is some of those lines are those like? I've only been to Vail in the summer. I've never skied there. Are those like lifts where you like have to take this one to get back to the base or something? It's the only thing off the base because there's multiple lifts on the one.
So many people.
Oh, okay. They're just all coming from Denver that one day.
Yeah, I mean it's like right off the highway. It's on the highway.
Yeah.
And people, just pop up there. I think they don't need to stay there. They can just go for the day. Mm-hmm. At least that was kind of I went to the University of Colorado, and that we would base our classes around skiing. We would, go skiing and then come back for classes.
Yeah. Okay, awesome. Sorry, I blanked out for a second. I need to go. I'm going to put you on a tangent, and I'm going to stop the dryer because the dryer is running right now, and I can't hear anything else. But
oh my God, I love it.
Tell us about like your first time to Jackson. Was it vacation? What did you think of it? Like, what did you think of just the whole thing?
So my first time to Jackson was actually when I was living in Colorado. Went to the University of Colorado in Boulder, and my friends and I came up to visit some friends to go skiing for the weekend, and it was like a complete whiteout. So I don't even really remember Jackson because it was like snowing so bad the whole time, and all I remember is we went skiing at the resort, and I didn't learn to ski until I moved to Colorado, so I didn't grow up skiing. And I wasn't that good. And I was just trying to keep up with my friends because I couldn't see them. It was like a whiteout. And I remember I got back to Colorado and we skied the next weekend. And I was like such a better skier because I didn't realize how steep it was. And I was just trying to like stay with my friends and not die. But I remember being exhausted.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's such a big reason that I think every skier should come here at least once. Mm-hmm. Like if you can ski one full tram lap here at Jackson Hole, you can ski anything anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean
like it's all inbounds, but that amount of vertical and just having to do basically Rendezvous Bowl. If you can get down Rendezvous Bowl, you can ski anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty steep.
Yeah. And it
definitely will make you a better skier if you're there for 2 days. That's why I tell everyone they come and they're, if they're too scared to ride the tram, I'm like, just go slow and you will, trust me, like you will get better.
Yeah, even doing the stuff around Casper, like I don't.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of tough areas of besides the bowl.
Yeah, definitely. And I've been really big on this idea lately that I really like when it's super windy up there and just crazy stormy because it reminds people what you're actually on top of. Mm-hmm. We have the luxury of riding this nice red box up 4,000 feet vertical to a cabin that serves you waffles, but people I think need a reminder like what kind of terrain you're actually on top of.
Like Rocky Mountains.
Yeah, it's 10,450 feet.
That's how I feel anytime I go in the park, like in the summer or the winter. I'm just like, we are in like this is real, and people need to remember that.
Yeah,
like you can have fun and do whatever you want to do, but just like it's not, your normal walk in the park. Yeah.
A grizzly could be walking the same trail as you.
Like cliffs and it's and with weather, I've gotten stuck in the park with bad thunderstorms and so it's a real place.
Yes, and the Yellowstone, we're having such an issue where people will go there and like think the animals are like not wild. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know.
Yeah, that's always been really bizarre to me, and I honestly don't go to Yellowstone in the summer because the tourists like it makes me so anxious to see people being idiots.
Yeah, and I don't know why it seems to. Recently, it seemed that it's like Chinese tourists, and I don't know if like they would. I wonder if they have like safari areas in China where the animals are okay with humans, so that's what they think it is. I don't know
about that. I don't know.
I just noticed a trend, and I'm like, that's kind of weird that they're like putting their kids next to buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like people, those are real buffalo.
I know.
Or bison.
Well, it's like the guy who put the bison in the back of his car with his kid.
Oh, yeah.
It was like...
Yeah, the baby.
Yeah.
The baby bison.
Yeah, it was terrible. But I was part of, with Visit Jackson Hole, this was like last year, 2 years ago? No, it was last year. They did a Instagram social media campaign about tag responsibly.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And that was because of geotagging. And, people will go to national parks and they'll click on little geotag in Instagram and it'll show you exactly where that destination is. And then people will just, instead of stopping and finding, a map or talking to a ranger, they just kind of go, and it's not super safe to do that.
Yeah, just for Instagram too. They're not going because they enjoy hikes. They're going for the one picture they're going to take.
Yeah.
Yeah. I use that tag a lot. The tag responsibly.
Mm-hmm. Are you from the Midwest?
Don't you know it? I am, yes.
Too.
I grew.
You said tagged.
Yeah, Taylor and I both grew up in suburbs of Minneapolis.
Yeah, okay. I'm from Ohio originally, so I hear it, but I also hear it in myself sometimes. I feel like I've lost my accent since I moved here, but sometimes it comes out.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe people from back home from Minnesota, tell me if I've lost my accent at all, because that'd be cool. I'll try some words that'll accentuate it. Hot dish.
No.
Boots,
yeah.
Lake Minnetonka.
I still say like for dinner I want to make a salad.
Yeah.
And I think that's a little Ohio-y.
I say all of our friend group is from like, one's from Philly, one's from Michigan, we're from Minnesota, one's from Virginia, and one's from Rhode Island, and we all love playing on each other's regionalisms. So I love regionalisms.
Too fun.
Yeah. So you talked about when you first came here. So then what made you want to move here, and like what was that process like for you in getting the classic move to Jackson story of like getting a job and getting a housing and like actually getting here?
Okay, so like I said, I went to University of Colorado in Boulder. In my senior year of college, I was doing commercial real estate as a minor, and so I had an internship with a guy in Boulder, and for my internship, he was a developer as well, so he kind of put me in charge of mountain markets like that they were researching. Mm-hmm. And so I kind of and going to school in Colorado, we would go to all these different mountain towns like Telluride and Steamboat and Crested Butte, and I kind of knew that that's where I wanted to be. I didn't know which one after I graduated, and so I got to know kind of like the real estate markets around those different towns. And I'd come up here with friends, and I don't know why, but like my senior year, like a bunch of my friends and I were like, we're all moving to Jackson Hole. I'm moving to Jackson Hole. I actually ended up moving to New York City right after college, and I had this like awful job, and that didn't last very long. And so I moved back. My parents from Ohio had moved to Florida. So I was living with my parents in Florida, and I was just like super depressed. And the guy that I had been working with in Boulder came up here to find property there used to be a company called Quintess, I think it was called. And basically it was like, I think it was based out of Denver, but people would pay like a membership yearly, and then they could go and stay at any of these homes like all over the world. Oh. And this was in 2008, so it was like right before the market crash, and that business is no longer. But he came up here on behalf of them to find a vacation home for their members, and he talked to Dave Spackman, who's like a longtime realtor. He's amazing. And his two sons, and he kind of just was like, hey, I know this girl who worked for me. She's interested in real estate. Do you know of anyone who is looking for an assistant? And they were like, actually, like we are. So he got on the phone with me when he was with them, and I was in Florida, and he was like, I don't know why, but he was like, you just need to get on a plane and come to Jackson and just meet with these guys. So I was like, in a kind of a dark spot. So I was like, I have nothing else going on. So I got on a plane and I flew out here, and I had some friends of friends that I like stayed on their couch. And I interviewed with them, and it was awesome. And then for 2 weeks I didn't hear from them. And I was just like, I think I'm just going to stay here. And I was like, I'll figure it out. I'll work at a bar or something. And it was funny. I actually went on a hike, and I got to the top of the mountain. And this was like, cell phones, are not as good as they are today, but definitely didn't have any cell phone service in the park. And I got to the top of the mountain, and I got a phone call from Dave, and he was like, "Hey, I want to offer you the job." And I was like, "Oh my God, this is meant to be."
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's kind of, so yeah. And I had my mom like ship everything out here, cause I was like, I don't have any more clothes. And like, I, like bought a car and found a place to live. And, yeah. And that was in 2008. So kind of crazy. I did not plan on staying here this long. I guess I didn't really have a plan, but I thought I'd just kind of be here for like a couple years, and it just has totally sucked me in.
Yeah.
Like many other people.
Yeah, that is a common story. They're like, yeah, I'll stay here for a winter, and then they're here for like 30.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's a great story. I can't believe you got a phone call in the park. Like even
I know,
in
it's
most
crazy.
of like the visitor areas, there's nothing.
And back in like 2008 when I had like a flip phone, I'm sure.
Yeah, your Motorola your Motorola Razor got you.
My like BlackBerry.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome. And then was it through like acquisitions, or did you just move because you wanted to work under Sotheby's, or how'd you get to be under Sotheby's?
So they were with Sotheby's. So
Okay.
I was licensed with them, and I've been licensed with them since 2008. I went out on my own in like 2014, and that's when I started the Scout Guide. And I kind of needed to do that while I was on I couldn't really work for a group anymore and start a business at the same time. So that's when I did that. And I went to
Wait, do you run the Scout Guide?
I started it, but I sold it last year.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so I started that in 2014.
That's sweet. I followed that Instagram account for a while because I was like,
Yeah.
I just love anything Jackson Hole. And then I saw like an actual paper copy in like one of the t-shirt shops. I was like, this is pretty sick.
Yeah, isn't it awesome? I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did that in real estate, and I was, blogging for 4 or 5 years, and it all just got to be like too much. Like I was stretched too thin, and so I sold the Scout Guide last year to a wonderful woman named Jill, and she's running it and she's crushing it, and it's like still living on, which is like really cool for me to see. But it gave me time to focus more on my real estate career.
Yeah. That must give you so much like confidence in your ideas now, when you're like, okay, that idea is now living on without my effort.
Yeah, and it's cool because like she's made it her own, and like it's changed, but it's like working. So, it's like things that I never would have thought of, but that she's implementing, and it'll be cool to see it continue to grow. And in general, could you describe it to the people that don't know what it is? Yeah, so the Scout Guide started in the company started in Charlottesville, Virginia, and it has expanded to different towns and cities across the country. But basically, it's a book, and it started as a book and a guide of highlighting the small local business owners that make up that town, and it has then morphed into it's more of like like a social media, and there's like a website involved for each town, each city, and a networking. It's kind of like a networking event thing too. So. So I started the one in Jackson Hole, and then,
Do you need to like pay anything, or, get any license, anything like that to be a part of the organization? Yeah. So it's set up as a franchise, which is kind of, funny to think of because they don't really run it like a franchise, at all. Like you get to pick, as the editor and the owner, you get to pick and curate kind of what businesses are going to be in the book, and that was super fun for me, and I got to really know the community, and I got to know the local business owners that make this town work, and that was awesome. Yeah, sorry, I was just looking at the Instagram. I wasn't just ignoring you. So it's cool, and you're in there recently. I know, I was just recently on there, but it's cool. Like if you're traveling to I kind of started it as like, if people are traveling here, then they kind of know like the best restaurants to eat at, the best shops to go to, and like the people who make up those businesses, like put a face to the business. But I was really surprised at
how much the local community enjoyed it. And it was kind of like a, you know, like a source for like what's happening with these local businesses and a way for people to tell their story, which I thought was really, that was like my favorite part.
Yeah.
Getting to know the businesses and the people behind the business. And it's just like you're doing here. It's like, how did you get here? Like what made you, you know, start the brewery or like buy the brewery or whatever. And so it's kind of like what makes up our town.
Yeah, there's so many just mom and pop businesses in Jackson, and I think it's so awesome. Like, unless you're walking into like, you know, McDonald's or the resort, you're gonna have a high likelihood of talking to the owner.
Yeah,
right?
It's really awesome.
And I think that's like the coolest thing ever because they're not the good owners aren't super dead set on just like selling you something. They more want to like educate you, help you out with like whatever you're in there for.
And I think it's just like I'm so passionate about small business, and I really believe that like every dollar spent in your town is like sends a ripple through the community. And I think the business owners here are incredible, and they come from all over, and you know, they're all different backgrounds and different stories. And like the girl Kendra who makes Alpen Beauty makeup, she was on QVC yesterday, and like she's now selling on her stuff that's made here on Sephora. And then the gal who makes these purses or these big beautiful bags called Copper Dot Leather, she was just in Vogue. It's just like,
oh wow, people
in this town are doing like really cool big things. So I wanted to like highlight and showcase those people.
Yeah, that's awesome. That mention of Vogue, do you feel like recently, and I think it's because of like the Kardashians started coming here and the Bachelor shows, like there's more of this fashion or travel blog activity going on here than ever before? Do you feel that?
Yeah, but like I think with social media, I personally think that that's happening everywhere.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I guess people can just see like if a celebrity goes to any place and be like, oh, that looks cool, I'll go there and write a blog about it.
Yeah.
And I want to preface this by saying it's different if you live here and write a blog about being here.
yeah.
Than it is if you live in LA. This is what annoys me. Yeah. So I'll get on my soapbox for a second. They live in LA and they come and stay at the Four Seasons and then act like they're roughing it in some rustic cabin. It's like, no, bitch. You're at the nicest hotel.
But if they mention a small business that they went to, then I'm cool with it.
Yeah. If they say, we stopped in and got some hats at what the hat
this
company?
This is Crown and Brim.
Yeah, at Crown and Brim. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're doing that and they're acting like they're like roughing it. I'm just like, no, you're not.
Yeah, I know. But I think that's kind of everywhere. I mean, one of my best friends lives in Big Sky, Montana, and like that's smaller than here, more remote, and like they still see it too. So
okay,
I'm not like worried about this town turning into like. I mean, people can, I don't know. People can say that it's changing. I think everywhere's changing. Yeah,
they probably those types of people have probably always come to towns like this. It's just more that they have an outlet in blogging and their social media to say that stuff where
and also
we
like
wouldn't be able to hear it.
I mean, it's like a lot of people aren't from here, and it's like if someone wants to come visit, like we all wanted to come visit.
Yeah,
you know, it's like it is beautiful. Like, you know, let them come, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, we probably wouldn't have a town if it wasn't for all these people.
Yeah, like tourism brings a lot of money.
Yeah, it gives us our bus system. I think like the lodging tax pays for that.
That's it helps a lot. So it's kind of a double-edged sword if you're a local, but
yeah,
I try to look at the positives.
Definitely. So talk about this Crown and Brim company you're wearing.
Yes. So this hat is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Sarah owns Crown and Brim. She makes these hats by hand. She was a physical therapist and started making hats about a year ago. And she reached out to me on Instagram, and I went to her studio and met her, and she's like so lovely and so amazing and super talented. And she gave me this hat for my birthday, and I literally wear it every day, and everyone comments on it.
Yeah.
Everyone compliments it, and it's just like it's the best.
Everyone that style of hat right now is super, super popular here in town. Everyone's getting them. And is that one made out of like beaver
skin? It's beaver. I believe it's beaver felt. And then she hand makes the beads, the beaded work. And I actually designed this, and she like stitched it together for me, which I'm like, I don't know how she
Did you like draw something?
I kind of like gave her some images, like some like kind of, yeah. I mean, it was loose, but it was also like when she showed this to me, I was like, that's exactly what I was thinking in my head. She's and she, you know, she does these little Tetons on the side, but she can kind of stitch anything.
Yeah, that's awesome. I got to get a hat like that.
Yeah. I mean, any guy, any girl, they need a hat.
Yeah, there's a lot of hat shops in town, and they're all like fit you to your style. Just if anybody's looking for a hat, just go into. They're all, like we said, small businesses. They're all awesome shops.
And Sarah and I are actually working on a collaboration for hats, which hopefully we're launching soon. So
is that a Stories from Mountain Town exclusive story?
I mean, you
have
heard it
you
here
posted?
first.
Awesome. That's my first exclusive story.
Yeah, there you go.
Awesome. So what is that going to look like? Do you have like?
We basically so. She's this incredible artist. I wear this hat all the time just from my experience, and I'm one person, but wearing this hat, people are like, I love this hat. I want that hat. But a lot of people are scared to wear hats. So my idea was to see if she could make these hats a little bit more price friendly so that people could kind of get like a starter hat. And yeah, the feedback we've gotten so far has been pretty good. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you have like a Meg the Egg logo that you use on anything?
I have like a logo for, it's I kind of stole the logo from the Welcome to Jackson Hole or Yonder Jackson
Hole.
The
cowboy pointing.
It's a cowgirl.
Cowgirl pointing.
Yeah, so
nice.
I stole that for my blog and made it pink and but no, I mean, I think when I do this collaboration, it's totally, Sarah's the artist. It's like, It's hers. I just want to help kind of promote it and get the word out and take pictures because I love doing that. Yeah,
that's a great idea. Taylor, my girlfriend, was just saying how she wanted a hat like that and that they're like $700. And I just immediately thought of like how many vodka sodas she's going to spill on that at the Cowboy Bar.
Well, I have to tell you that these are like super indestructible. And I think, for fashion, for style, like this is like your cost per wear. Like I always think about that. I'm like, if I have this hat for the rest of my life, then it's going to be pennies every time I wear it.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can hang it on your wall and it's like, it doubles as art.
It's like art. Yeah, you could hang it on this elk antler right here.
Exactly.
So that elk antler, I don't think most folks have seen that. Our friend Haley has a dog, Bridger's girlfriend, her name's Zuma, was wandering one day and we didn't know where she was, and then she came back with that.
Oh my God, that's huge.
So she just like pulled this up to the house.
Okay, so people who can't see this, it's like a massive antler. That's an elk, right?
Yeah, it's one side of an elk mount, just the one antler.
But it's not. It's like part of the skull is still attached to it, but not the full skull.
Yeah,
like a quarter of the skull.
Yes, exactly. And so it's like the full length.
So that's like a dead elk. That wasn't like it didn't shed that.
Yes. Yeah. So she just pulled it up randomly. Like, oh, that's kind of sick.
Freak me out if my dog brought that, but.